Matt, I'm sure you're very excited to hear that Guns N' Roses has introduced their cities for the North American tour this summer. 21 cities announced, and I'm taking a look. Well, Halifax isn't on that list. Well, Vancouver's not even on that list. Oh, Seattle is. Toronto is, which I guess gives it the North American summer tour moniker, but everything else is in the United States, so I don't know. I guess I'm just going to have to be a roadie and follow Guns N' Roses around this summer. And that's while Axl is singing for AC/DC. That's going to be a good summer for music. Speaking of music, here's ours. Yeah, it's Trip Tour Podcast music right there. This week, it's just me and Matt. No Alex. There you go. And that's us. That's our story. And we're sticking with it. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Could you hear that music just there?
The music?
As you were talking about Guns N' Roses, I
Did
decided
Sweet
I would
Child
also
of Mine start playing?
No, I don't. No, it wasn't Sweet Child of Mine. But I started looking it up, and it did that wonderful autoplay thing that websites that are great do.
Oh.
And it just it was kind of shocking because it came right as you said, "Here's the music," and I thought you were being like you were ejecting some flavor into the podcast of your very own, and it was alarming to me.
Oh, because it was it the Patience video?
I think it must have been the start of it.
Yeah,
but it didn't sound anyway. Regardless, Seattle. You should go to that.
Yeah,
that's with Slash, right? That's why they would only announce it if Slash was also going to be there.
Well, I think we talk about this in the show. We may not have. Yes, this is a Axl Slash reunion, but I think there's some members of the band won't be there. I don't know.
I mean, the band's had tons of members over the years. Izzy Stradley going to be there?
I think Izzy might be the one who's not.
Yeah.
This doesn't count, by the way, folks, as part of the Are Your Favorite Bands Still Together discussion
right?
that we had a couple of shows ago. I like Wikipedia when they have... Oh, they don't have it for Guns, I don't think. But they have this like timeline of like people who are with the band, and it's like this little, line. It's like with them, no longer with them. With them, left, came back. Members.
Oh, yeah, that thing, yeah.
So, I mean, to present... Oh, I guess, yeah, Axl does. So it's going to be Axl Slash, Duff. Looks like all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They changed up the drummers a little bit, too,
Oh,
during Use Your Illusion.
Oh, here's the main list of... heck. Don Henley used to play drums when they toured in 1989.
What?
Yeah, how about that?
That's not true.
According to Wikipedia, in 89. Oh, he just toured with them, I think.
Okay.
Touring, yeah. It was just him. Or maybe he just like, we got Don Henley out there. He's going to come up and drum on this song.
'Cause I got a peaceful, he's a feeling. Yeah. I feel bad if he wasn't the one who wrote that one. But that'd be okay. So there's a little bit of music this summer. If you are in a North American city that probably has one of the major 4 sports league teams, then you'll probably see them. Probably.
You'll probably.
I wouldn't hold your hopes out for that. Green Bay, Wisconsin.
No, not Green Bay, but what's the closest city to Green Bay? Would it be Chicago?
Appleton.
That's
true.
What else? What's the other city in Wisconsin?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, which means the good land. No, I think Chicago is the next closest town to Green Bay.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. You can make the trip down.
Green Bay is
cheeseheads.
Green Bay is always the exception, though. If you talk about major sports cities, Green Bay is just such a weird. It's like, yeah, we got one team, and the city owns it.
Yeah, it's the greatest anomaly. Well, another anomaly like that in the Canadian sense is the Rough Riders, Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Yes,
who this week will announce a new logo.
Oh, for real? I like. You know what I like.
That being said, the new logo is not very different.
Oh, you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm guessing it's an S with a wheat chaff involved.
So if you it's more or less the exact same. And when they announced it, they're like, "Here it is," and it was. I looked at it and I was like, I can't tell the big difference. Essentially, there used to be gray in the logo, which they turfed. So it's just green and white with black as the borders.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on sportslogos.net, and it's the exact same.
tidied up the S a little bit.
Yes.
And before there was a line of like there were some lines behind the S on that shield, and they weren't lined up, so they lined them up. Which is good. They got that all straightened out.
Oh yeah,
so
they are literally they got it all straightened out. Yeah, those lines.
They literally straightened it out.
Those lines don't line up, and that oddly enough drives me crazy.
Yes. It
Little,
should.
Little details like that. I do like their. I did like their the logo they kind of threw back to a little while ago. That according to this site they had from 66 to 84, the S in the kind of in the circle sort of thing with the
yeah.
That's I think that's their best one.
They do a really nice. That's a really nice one too. Actually, my wife hates it, and she has a little bit more of a claim to it, but that's okay.
Actually, their first logo is awesome too. It's just a football with a ribbon around it saying Saskatchewan Roughriders. Those old, like super old logos that are just somehow so detailed are just so great.
Oh, it's the best.
I mean, for football, they didn't really. You could have a really crazy logo like that, and like it wouldn't matter because you wouldn't have it on your uniform. You just have a green shirt and a green helmet with a bunch of, just so I guess the grass stains don't show up.
Yeah, exactly. I like the old logo's still there on their alternate jersey, which is nice and clean. Looks really good. And then I really like their away jerseys too because it's like all white with a bit of green on it.
Yeah,
people call it their Stormtrooper look, which some people don't like, but I totally love.
Stormtroopers with grass stains, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, more or less.
They're fighting hard.
Yeah, they. Yeah, that's the Riders for you. The team has been around for over 100 years and has won 4 championships. So good on them.
Hey, man, in the 90s, there was American teams. So what could we do?
For like, what, 2 years, a year? How long?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think.
How long was the CFL USA experiment? Folks, it's all CFL USA this podcast, by the way.
This is the CFL USA edition podcast. Well, they had the Baltimore.
It was from 93 to 96.
Oh, okay. I thought it was only 1 year, but I guess it was several. I tell you what, it was no XFL though.
That's true.
That was.
Is there still not a 30 for 30 in the XFL? Because that would be. They need a mini series.
I don't think Vince McMahon's going to let them make that.
Oh, well, you got to do someone who won't let them.
Yeah,
you got to just do it anyway. That's the only way to really make it work, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the WWE is pretty friendly with ESPN now. Like, they have wrestlers go on Sports Center and talk to Jonathan Coachman. They're like, "Hey, Coach used to work here. We'll send wrestlers over to talk to Coach."
Yeah.
Yes, they haven't done any 30 for 30s really WWE related. Because if they did, it would probably be like, why did so many wrestlers die young or something like that.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know who directed. Oh, Dwayne could probably direct one.
Johnson?
Yeah, Dwayne could direct a 30 for 30 someday when he's not so busy.
I would think that he wouldn't want to because he could I could spend 6 months making a documentary and make no money, or I could spend 6 months, make 2 movies and make all the money.
Yeah, for sure. I'm saying when he's not so busy, and he's crazy busy right now. His buddy Peter Berg directed the King's Ransom one about Gretz.
Oh yeah,
that was Peter Berg, who he works with on. He worked with on Rundown, and he works with on Ballers. He's like a buddy of his on Ballers. Because Peter Berg, nice. I didn't know. I knew he was as a director, but he's also an actor.
Right.
Which isn't crazy rare at all. But I was like,
right.
Peter Berg is an actor too.
It's not like Spike Jonze in Moneyball,
or Moneyball, or in Wolf of Wall Street.
Is he in Wolf of Wall Street too?
Oh yeah, he's the guy. He's got like the little.
I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, okay. He's got a little company selling penny stocks, as Leo is just like kind of starting out, and he's got a company that sells penny stocks. He has a little scene with Leo that I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, we're just selling penny stocks. It's nothing, and like all these schlubs in like a garage are just kind of like, yeah, okay. And Leo's like, all right. And then Leo like actually really is selling these penny stocks so hard, and everybody really takes notice. Anyway, that's for Wolf of Wall Street, which came out 3 years ago. Hey, speaking of Rock, Rock's going to show up some point this Sunday in Dallas. He'll be there at
What's this Sunday in Dallas?
Oh, what's this Sunday in Dallas? He'll be there at Jerry World at 18T Stadium, and I guess it's in Arlington.
Is WrestleMania next week?
It's this weekend. Yeah.
Oh,
this weekend's WrestleMania 32.
Well, this is Monday, so a week from today it will have happened.
It will have happened, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I can give it a preview without Alex stopping me.
I can also stop you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, no, I mean, it's just not a triple threat situation, even though it is the triple threat podcast. You can't have two guys team up on me. Or is it mostly doing triple threat matches, knock a guy out of the ring and have two guys go in, and then when they get to a finish, the other guy runs in and stops the pin or stops the submission, and then those two guys fight while the other guy rolls out of the ring, and then so on until somebody actually, gets a finisher on both guys.
It's pretty great. Well, let's talk about
WrestleMania is what made this podcast what it is 2 years ago.
Boy.
That's right.
Boy.
WrestleMania 30. It was a big deal. I can just run down. I don't know if you have to run down the card. No, we've talked about it before. And,
talk about like one or two matches you're excited about. You can do that.
Okay.
Why not?
This Shane Undertaker match they're building really hard, and it could be very interesting.
Is there any reason for them to hate each other? Have we figured that out yet?
Besides, no, not really. Besides Vince wanting Shane to fight somebody. Vince is like, all right, I'll give you an opponent of my choosing at a time of my choosing. The time's going to be WrestleMania, and the opponent's going to be The Undertaker, which is a really weird call. And so Shane's basically like, listen, Undertaker, I'm Vince's son, and you're just Vince's, well, he says puppet, but he also uses another mean word for it.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And they've
marionette, of course, right?
Marionette, yeah, that's right. They've laid hands on each other 2 weeks ago, but they've been showing training montages or training videos of Shane, and Shane looks like in really good shape. He's been doing MMA training and that sort of thing, like boxing training, and he looks better than he ever has, really. But it's not, I don't know if it's a great look where you have like a balding Undertaker fighting a graying Shane McMahon, because Shane's always been like the kid, and now the kid's got gray hair, which as Bill Burr would point out, when athletes get super slow and they lose a step and they get old, all they do is remind you of your own mortality, right? You're just like, oh, Shane used to be a kid. I used to be a kid. Shane's getting old. Oh, now I'm going to get old. I'm going to have gray hair, too. I don't want to be reminded of that. That match could be interesting. I got to find a better word for it. That match could potentially steal the show. Okay. If Shane does his crazy stuntman gig. And I think the top three matches are pretty good. There's going to be Shane and Undertaker. Triple H versus Roman could be pretty good because they're blowing off a long feud that's lasted a couple years now. And then you have Dean Ambrose against Brock Lesnar in the no holds barred street fight. I mean, last week on Raw it was pretty sweet. Terry Funk showed up. The week before that, Mick Foley showed up. Yeah, Mick showed up and gave him a barbed wire bat, which is like, oh, great. So Dean can use a barbed wire bat in his match. And then the week after, Terry Funk showed up and gave him a chainsaw. So it's like, oh, sweet. Dean Ambrose can use a chainsaw in his match.
That's what?
Which is insane. Which is ridiculously insane. You cannot bring out a chainsaw, even if it's like completely deactivated. Oh, it'd have to be one of those chainsaws. They'd have to do like a movie prop. Like I'm assuming they use for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That sort of chainsaw where you put like maybe rubber fake blades, gimmick blades around the thing, around the saw. There's the barbed wire bat was like, oh cool, he can use that. Chainsaw was like, come on. It's hilarious. And he actually used the saw to like cut a table in half. And then there's the 7-man ladder match for the Intercontinental title like you had last year, which is good because Zack Ryder finally gets a WrestleMania spot after years and years. You got the Usos against the Dudleys in a tag team match, which is probably going to be... Oh, it's good. Yeah, it is going to be on the pre-show. I was going to say, it's got pre-show written all over it. They're still doing the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with 20 guys, which will probably be half NXT call-ups, which is
interesting.
Because NXT has a takeover the night before, too, in Dallas, which I assume would be at the American Airlines Center they have in Dallas, wherever the Stars and the Mavericks play. U.S. title match, Kalisto against Ryback. New Day against League of Nations. No title on the line there. The triple threat for the Divas title could be pretty good, too. Charlotte and Becky versus Becky versus Sasha, where two of them will fight. Well, one of them rolls out of the ring, and then when they get to a finish, one of them will come in and break it up, and so on and so on. So that's the card for WrestleMania. So they got about 7 matches to fill up 4 hours. So it's definitely going to be. See, WrestleMania is kind of it's kind of a slog because it's like match and then a bunch of other stuff that's not a match, and then a match and a bunch of other stuff that isn't a match, just to kind of fill time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed last year's show, but they seemed, and I enjoyed the year before that. 29 I wasn't hot on. 28 was pretty good. 27 wasn't good, but I was there. So we will see.
Right.
And that's it's always a spectacle. I really don't know what they're going to do as far as attendance. I don't know how they're going to do attendance. They want to announce it as the biggest attendance record of all time. They want to break the Pontiac Silverdome record because they are in AT&T Stadium. I wonder if they'd ever do a WrestleMania in the NASCAR stadium. That'd be a lot of floor seats, wouldn't it? If you get
it would be
it'd be impossible.
Yeah,
it'd be impossible.
I mean, we can see how it would happen.
No, it wouldn't be a good idea. I guess they could do it. Where was they did the Winter Classic a couple years ago in Michigan? Is that the University of Michigan Stadium?
Yeah, it was the big house there.
The big house where they had like over 100,000 people watching the hockey game.
Yeah, but that's supposed to be outside, right?
That's roofless and outside, and it's in Michigan, and that would be Michigan in the spring, which would be a terrible idea. You know when they did WrestleMania in New York in the spring? That was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
3 years ago. They had on the ring posts. They had little vents on the ring posts because they had heaters blasting inside the ring.
Yeah, that's smart.
It was smart, and
You're cozy in there.
Yeah. Well, it's these guys got to be shirtless and look sweaty, look like they're exerting themselves. I don't know. I could run down the Hall of Fame class with Godfather and Big Boss Man and Jacqueline, but.
It's a weak class, man.
I feel like I already did. Well, Sting is definitely going to be a big entrant, and they announced who else did they announce? Stan Hansen, the Freebirds. Anyway, it's not a great looking Hall of Fame class, with all due respect to the entrants, but it should be a good time. It's another weekend. I wish I was in Arlington for it. I wish I had the funds because it is a good time. But there you go. So we have it. I wish they'd come back to Seattle, but Seattle they only drew about 55,000 at the Safeco Field. They could do CenturyLink Field.
Yeah, that'd be nicer.
Because that's kind of that also is roofless, and that would be Seattle. Well, yeah.
It's pretty well roofed.
Yeah, for most of the fans it is.
Right.
For the competitors, they'd have to have the little they'd have to make their little hut thing.
Thing on top.
That they do in like outdoor arenas where they did in what do you call that place? San Francisco last year. I guess San Francisco was kind of close. Anyway, that's the WrestleMania rundown. I'm watching it on the network, and I'll have some people over, perhaps, if anyone cares to see the show. We can just sit there and make fun of what the wrestlers are wearing. It would be like the Oscar.
Only it's a bit more deserving.
Yes, that's right. Be like, oh, he went with that for his WrestleMania.
Did you not know you were going to be in the Hall of Fame? Come on.
Yeah, really. It's like, that is so 2006. So that's what we're looking at there. I was mentioning the Dallas Stars, mentioning hockey. The Canucks just were officially eliminated from Stanley Cup playoff. They've lost like 7 games in a row. They've had a stretch of like 2 or 3 games where they just didn't score at all. It was the season started rough and got way rougher, and it's just a bad time. So they're like down in the basement there in the standings with Edmonton. So they potentially could win that draft lottery, and they potentially could draft Austin Matthews. I don't know how well he'd fit, but let's think of tanking the season. We don't even have to try to tank the season. We're tanking the season right now.
Yeah, tank it up, man.
And we're saying tanks a lot. So for the playoffs, I think I'll pin my hopes on the Penguins and it looks like the Avalanche don't have their wild card still. But if the Avalanche make it in, I'd pin my hopes on the Avalanche and the Penguins. And Matt, that's for pretty obvious reasons.
Yeah, our buddy. Our local friend.
So some local kids on those teams. There's probably local kids on the other teams, but those two were the first overall draft picks. So yeah, you're right. Not really.
Boston has a guy.
Boston has a guy. He's actually had a good season too.
I know. I saw him. He was going to see Minions, I'm sure. I saw him.
You saw him at?
I saw him at Cineplex Bears Lake.
At Bears Lake?
Yeah. He was. I was there to see Trainwreck, and he was with some kids, and Minions had just come out, so I was pretty sure that's what was happening.
Did he have snacks? Did he have snackage?
Yeah, he had Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, he had Dunkin' Donuts coffee with him for sure.
He brought it with him.
He had he had some tea that he got out of the water there.
Yes.
Out of the
because it's still
it's still there.
These are deep cut Boston jokes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly. And he also was eating Patriots football.
He's eating a Patriots football.
Yeah. He had cooked it, like he had prepared it. Let's not be crazy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was ready.
Do you mean eating or deflating? Which one do you mean?
The act comes in. I mean, hilarious. Hilarious. Remember when we? What happened right after we were accused of that? Oh, we beat the Ravens and then won the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I had forgotten about that. That we beat the Ravens.
I don't think
badly.
you forgot.
We badly beat the Ravens. I think.
I don't think you forgot at all.
It was the Colts. I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We won the Super Bowl.
You quite remembered.
We won. I was there. Yeah, it was backup defensive end. That was me.
You guys crushed it. It's all good.
Yeah, we're crushing it. We're gonna just as we're starting the podcast here, 20 minutes into it, we're gonna be talking. We're gonna have a review of 10 Cloverfield Lane later on.
Oh, yeah. So Matty tells me he wants to review 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I can kind of read the room, and I'm like, well, I gotta have to watch it so we can talk about it.
You don't have to. I could have talked about it in
because that'll drive me crazy if I just sit here and listen to it. It's a movie I want to see. If it's a movie I'm like iffy on seeing, then I won't. I'll be like, oh, I can wait. But that one, I was like, yeah, I got to see that, and I got to see it before I see Batman versus Superman, which I did yesterday, but I'm still kind of reeling from it, so I'm not ready to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about it.
I was talking to a friend. So Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice has not been well reviewed at all. People it has done really poorly on Rotten Tomatoes and other aggregator sites and things like that.
Aggregator, yeah. I mean, one out of 3 people liked it.
If there's a film critic that you value their opinion on, they probably said it was bad.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking with a friend about it on Friday night, and I said, "Hey, so Batman versus Superman or whatever, it's a stupid title, Batman v Superman.
It's very wordy.
Legal brief from the court of Metropolis or Gotham." But I said to my friend, Batman v Superman, people don't like that movie. It looks like it's doing pretty poorly. The critics. And my friend just says, "Yeah, we should go see it." Like, and I think it's the attitude. I think it's the attitude of a lot of people, which is like, yeah, it's bad, but I mean, for me too, it's like, but it's. And I reeled a lot after seeing Man of Steel. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But part of me is just like, it's theatrical Batman. I love Batman. It's also one of those things where it's like, I'm open to seeing Batman on the big screen again. I know I won't like it more than the Christopher Nolan series. Christopher Nolan series is like almost formative, right? Like it was like the Batman Begins is one of the first movies that I realized was like a good movie and also like an entertaining blockbuster. I was young at the same time, but it was like
it's good though.
It was amazing, yeah. So and then going through all that whole series was like they're amazing. They're movies that mean a lot to me, even though they're about Batman. And now it's like, well, I don't know what else. I don't know what I'll get out of the Affleck stuff. I don't know. I still might punish myself.
I don't like Zack Snyder's take on the DC world, even though I guess Watchmen is semi-DC-esque, but Watchmen was so. This is known to people who've read it, and so unknown to anyone who doesn't know it, that the Watchmen movie he was able to kind of, do his thing, and so I enjoyed the Watchmen movie because I thought it fit the book quite well. But yeah, Man of Steel. yeah, I was watching a bit of it on TV the other day, and it's just like the effects and the cuts and the zooms and the just this super serious tone, and it's just like it's just a drag. So, yeah, we'll
I
see.
hated the zooms as well. That series bothered me.
Yeah, the effects are weird. But by the way, I haven't been on Rotten Tomatoes in a while. Did you see what Zootopia got on that?
On Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
It got 99%.
Yeah, sure. I believe that.
I mean, I can believe it. I thought it would get, it got a positive review from yourself. This is outrageous. There was 2 people who didn't like it out of 181 people. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Holy cow! All right, I got to check that out. I was reading a thing about it was a Cracked article, crazy movie effects that you don't even notice, and of course, for all these Pixar movies, like it took this, to make this part, it was a blobbity blue. So in Zootopia, every animal has their own has a different type of fur, obviously, like they would in real life, and it's all animated completely different. Like everyone's fur is animated to how a sheep's wool would respond to light, or a fox's fur would, or a whatever. So they have like 20 or however many different types of animal they have. They have a different type of fur for every single one of them.
Wow.
And like,
I guess you'd have to, right? I mean, they're setting the bar real high every time.
Well, because they were like Elsa's hair had about 400,000 strands. A giraffe in Zootopia is about, however many million strands of hair come off that thing. The other thing that's coming off great from the Batman v Superman thing is that video of Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck being interviewed.
I haven't seen that, but I saw something about it.
It's like a minute clip, at least the version I saw. And it's,
so what happens in it for those of us?
Well,
who,
someone's like. Someone's like, well, what's about the reviews of Batman v Superman? What about the reviews? And Henry Cavill's like, well, whatever do you mean? And he's being a little cheeky, being like, yeah, I know the reviews aren't good. Whatever do you mean? Yeah. And he's just like, well, it's just the reviews have been largely quite negative. And the video is Henry Cavill responding probably quite diplomatically, like an actor would be like, well, we worked very hard on our craft, and we believe the audience would respond to this film. And it's just they kind of slowly zoom in on Ben Affleck, and he's just kind of looking. He just looks very somber, and they play a sad song over him. But I can't remember what frickin' song it is. Anyway, it's not Walk of Life. I can tell you that. But it's just Ben, and then at the very end, they're like, Ben, what about you? And he's like, I completely agree. And that's it. That's the video. I can imagine these guys had to work out really hard for this movie. Ben got real big. Henry Cavill had to stay in shape. And then the critics slam your movie. It's rough. I'll tell you what makes none of this matter at all is that it's going to destroy this weekend. It already got did like 82 million on Friday. So it's got to do big money because probably most people are like you, man. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to watch it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that's the case. When I look at like a movie like that too, and I'm like, well, I mean, the critics will wipe it off. No, it's like Transformers. It's just going to be too big too big to fail.
The critics won't touch it. They won't affect it at all. Alex Vaughn, he's a member of the show. More than a friend, he's a member. Car carrying. He sent us a picture from Tirana, where he is, the Big Smoke, Hog City. Yeah. Right? And in Dundas Square, there's about, I'm exaggerating, but there's about 15 Superman v Batman ads.
Yeah, they get the big major city kind of like ad blitz thing where it's like they get like unique stylized ads for the buildings for everything to match up, everything like that.
One of the coolest,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the coolest ads for a movie I've seen was for a great movie starring Ryan Reynolds that was released recently called Green Lantern, and it was it was a billboard of him holding up his lantern ring, and it was a green like spotlight that just like went straight into the sky.
Oh.
Yes, visually, I thought it looked very cool.
Yeah.
And then I watched the movie, and it was a great film. I actually I knew how bad it was going to be. I didn't hate it as much as other people did because I went in with like -0 expectations.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not good. It's definitely not good. But that made me think the big weekend for Superman v Batman made me think of because Friday it did a big Friday, but Friday was interesting this year. Got to stop saying interesting. Was unique this year because it was Good Friday.
Right.
So I'm wondering,
like Easter weekend.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, I can't find it on Box Office Mojo. I'm wondering what were the big Easter weekend releases.
Yeah, it's tough because we got a moving holiday there.
We do. It does hover around a certain amount of weeks, though, and I'm sure studios
kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure studios look at it and they know it's coming, right?
Oh yeah, that has to be taken into account when they do that.
I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Take into account when they do their accounting. March is Easter weekend opening. Can you hear this tapping, by the way?
I can.
Oh, good. I like to have. I like to make it as immersive as possible.
Yeah, it feels like we're right here. I think it's good to enjoy. Just kind of double back a little bit. I enjoy
triple back.
Yeah, some movie ads, movie promotion stuff. It's okay to like it, you know. Sometimes, you know, we're in a culture that often people are really ad sensitive, really negative toward it. Don't put ads there. I don't want to see ads. Like, oh, my life is just seeing ads everywhere. But you know, when you like a movie or when you like certain things about it, you know, you want to enjoy it. And you're like, it's cool. It's cool to see little things like that. It's cool to see green spotlights in the sky and stuff like that, you know? Cool.
Oh, that's why I like when Star Wars movie. I like when movies come out and they're like, now Burger King, you can get this thing. Or now at Subway, you can get the Blobbity Blue. At McDonald's. And then Star Wars was everywhere. It was on packs of gum. It was on, you know, every second thing. I did see that Batman v Superman has its own cereal.
It's like it's standalone cereal, hey?
There's a Batman cereal and a Superman cereal. And I'm super serial about this. Special edition cereal. This is a movie that's 2.5 hours long. It's going to have an R-rated director's cut that's 3 hours when it comes out on video. And they're marketing it to kids. It doesn't look like a movie. Like if I was a kid, like the Tim Burton Batman was dark, but it was also like funny and a little wacky.
Yeah, sure.
So like a kid can enjoy that. These, I guess kids can enjoy it, but I think it's just so, it just looks so heavy. So they had their own cereal, and they also had Batman v Superman Pez dispensers, marketing those to kids. And I'm not sure, yeah.
Those are still happening.
Yeah, those are still happening. And there's a lot of like bus stop billboard ads and that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't mind film ads. It's something that Halifax didn't do enough of. I felt that when I went to Toronto, there were like a lot of film ads on billboards and that sort of thing. But in Halifax, you don't really get that.
Oh yeah, it's true. We're too small market. That's okay. That's how it is. Well,
it's okay. It's how it is. Yeah.
You have to visit somewhere else to check that sort of thing out. That's okay.
Why did you come to New York City? Oh, I just wanted to see the ads in Times Square. And,
I am actually going to New York City.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Just booked the flights and a hotel and everything this week.
I thought it was a damn rib. Why are you going there? This is breaking news.
It's a trip with the wife. Trip with the wife. Didn't have a chance to do a honeymoon, so we're doing it now.
You didn't do a honeymoon?
No, money wasn't as prevalent.
So you had a money moon. What? A money hoon.
Honeymoon. No. Yeah, that's it.
You didn't have a money boon, so you didn't have a honeymoon.
That being said, we've had decent travels
soon. You've had decent travels.
Yeah, like we did a weekend in Montreal last year. We did a week in New England last week as well.
Oh, awful.
You know, yeah. So it's good. It's gonna be a good time. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be
New York City.
June there. Yeah, we're going there for our anniversary.
So it's gonna be hot town summer in the city.
Yeah, man. We leave on the 4th of July.
For real?
Yeah.
For real? So you're sorry, I wasn't paying attention. You're flying down?
Yeah, we're gonna fly down.
Flying down.
That is correct.
Into LaGuardia or JFK?
LaGuardia. Are you gonna meet me there or something?
No, it's just I want to show off the fact that I know 2 airports in New York.
We also could have went to Newark and we did not.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I meant New York in the state because New York's in.
Oh, sure.
It's a Central Pack in Newark, New York City, man. Yeah, I really want to visit that town, and I also really. No, I shouldn't say I really don't. I really want to visit it. I really know that living there would be awful, even though I do like cities where you can take transit and walk around. Why is that, Will? Because you can't drive? Hey, shut up, man.
I like
I have
that
a
too.
license. Yeah, I'd love to go to New York City. I'd like to go to more American towns. Like, I think Dallas would be a fun town to go to. And I'm not just saying that because WrestleMania is there this coming weekend. Absolutely not going to Dallas, but Dallas would be a neat. I think that'd be a cool town to go to. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just like an American city that's like Chicago too. I'd love to go to Chicago.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Detroit would be very frightening. Los Angeles, I'd like to go there again, even though according to the movie San Andreas, it's not there anymore, so that's too bad. It really got rocked in that movie, man. So did San Francisco. I was watching a bit of that in the movie channel the other day, and it's the most like on the nose like disaster movie I could imagine. Paul Giamatti's there. He's like, "Oh wow, oh look at this wave. We gotta tell people. We gotta call people. Well, who do we have to call? Everyone."
Yeah, obviously.
Could have filled that one in for you, Paul. But good job. Good job being
Call everyone.
Call everyone. Good job being a wacky scientist there, Paul. Matt, is there anything else you want to announce this week? Any gigs? Any dates you want to plug? Just before I move on to our main event here.
Yeah, for sure. May 10th, I'm going to be in. I'm going to be
the Laugh Factory in Reseda.
When we in West Virginia, actually, haven't decided where. Don't know the names of anywhere in West Virginia yet. But
Wheeling,
and then
Wheeling, West Virginia.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go to East Virginia after that, and then I'm going to stop with a quick tour of North and South Virginia.
North and South Virginia.
I'm very excited about the NS Virginia trip.
I'm going to West Carolina soon. I'll be on East Carolina. And I'm also
if you haven't been to West Dakota, you're missing out.
So, yeah.
It's true. Yeah, and French Columbia is pretty good too. It's right next to British Columbia.
Also, Old Scotia is a good spot.
It's not called Nova Scotia.
It's called Nova Scotia for the Scots.
Should
That's
called
what we call that.
Yes, Viscotia.
Oh, that's why everyone there is so
Everyone's so negative. Nova Scotia.
I went to Rebec. That's a reboot of Quebec.
Ontario, yes, of course. Manitoba.
Yeah. Saskatchewan lost.
Need. No. We went different ways with that.
Alberto.
It's the French. Or male version, sorry.
Going up north to all of it.
I like that one best. Stupid. All Southeast Territories.
See, I was going to say cool way you're ahead, but yeah.
And Mekong.
And
no. Yes.
It's the weirdest gimmick of this show is when we say a title, we say, when we review this movie, we'll be like, yes, I saw 9 poppy seed way. To come up with a different word for every word.
We just want to make it as opaque as possible.
As opaque, that's right.
We're trying to have a podcast you cannot understand.
Apparently we have a podcast and I don't even understand it, but I'll pretend I do. I'll pretend I'm cool. I'm hip. I'm with it. Hell. All right. So.
Yes. You ready to go?
Yeah. So folks, make a note of the time because for the rest of the time we're going to be discussing 10 Cloverfield Lane, which if you haven't seen it, that's okay. Not a ton of people have. It was a movie that got kind of announced. Matt broke news. Matt told me about the trailer. He's like, 10 Cloverfield Lane. I'm like, why did you give me this address in the middle of Illinois? I don't understand. It's a trailer for this film. This what looked like a quasi Cloverfield sequel. Now, Cloverfield was a movie that came out in 07. Produced.
I think it was January 08, actually.
It was January 18th, 08. You're right, Matt. I don't know how I just pulled that up randomly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost like I had my mojo, baby. Oh, it's only an hour and 24 minutes, so it's a brisk flick. Directed by JJ or was that directed by Matt?
Matt Reeves.
Yes, Rise of the Planet and Dawn of the Planet and Revenge of the Planet of the Apes own Matt Reeves. So
yes,
that's right. And he was a producer on this movie, 10 Cloverfield Lane, along with JJ Abrams. But 10 Cloverfield Lane just kind of came out of nowhere. It was a movie that wasn't really announced at all, and it just came the trailer came out, and just a few scant weeks later, the film was released.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was all very quickly.
It all happened very quick,
Yes.
which I suppose fits the theme of the movie, actually. All that happening very quick. I don't know if I should just sum it up the backwards way. But spoilers start now. 10 Cloverfield Lane is about an alien attack on Earth, and the aliens have this spray that gets released that that's not breathable for humans. So a man is nice enough to accidentally run into a woman's car and take her into his underground bunker that he had prepared after he killed a neighbor of his. I think that's a good summation of Cloverfield Lane, don't you think?
I think it's one of the worst ways you could describe it.
It's the backwards way. It's the backwards way of describing it.
That's why movies don't happen that way.
No, and that's why this movie is told so well.
I want to give 10 Cloverfield Lane points right away for something that I don't think I've ever seen in a movie before.
Yes.
Which is someone using an iPhone with the most up-to-date operating system on it. because
it's such a new movie, man.
It's such a new movie, exactly.
Yeah.
They made it in a short time frame. So usually when you see a movie, you're like, that main character's using iOS 7. What kind of idiot is doing that?
Or if
it's iOS 9.
Or if your movie super doesn't have any money, you just have
make
a
one
fake,
up.
Yeah, you make one up.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, you have kind of an operating system and kind of a thing.
Oh, that's extra terrible. So yeah, there was Mary Elizabeth Winstead's cell phone was running iOS 9, and I was very impressed by it. I was like, "That's my phone. This happens in my world. It doesn't happen in some digital world 2 years ago, like so many other movies."
I'm not really clear what state it is. I guess they are in Texas, right?
I believe they're in Louisiana.
Because he was going.
This is
Louisiana.
unclear for a lot of reasons. Watching the movie, it is not clear where they are because Emmett, the John Gallagher. Is it John Gallagher Jr.? Is that his name?
Yes.
So there's like three people in this movie. I'm like, what's that guy's name? He talks about going to a school in Louisiana. So realistically, he could be from there or not there, but probably in the South at least.
Thing is, that she finds his ticket at one point though, and I think it's going from Texas to Louisiana.
Okay, interesting. Right, but then at the same time, John Goodman is wearing a shirt for a lot of the movie that says, I think, Mississippi on it.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's
then
kind of in the South, like 'cause they talk about like the southern, the southern seaboard or something.
Yeah, but not a lot of accents happening in it all the same.
No, not a lot of accents. No.
Yeah, I mean, if people are listening to this, realistically, they've heard the movie before. They've seen the movie, right? Or they don't care.
Either they've seen it or they don't care. Yeah,
they've seen it or they don't care, which is fair.
So it's relevant.
Yeah. So what was something I was going to get to right away? I'm trying to remember. Oh, did you catch the voice when you were watching the movie of her boyfriend?
No, I didn't, and I want.
Do you know who it is? Don't look it up.
Oh well, I just looked at it right now. Really? Okay. They got him? Okay. I mean, I guess you can literally phone it in. That's awesome. Though.
So there's three people in the movie, except at the beginning of the movie when, which I think is brilliantly done, by the way. The beginning of the movie is not like, it's not the intense thriller kind of thing. It's just a girl moving out of her house. And you see that she's doing it like with speed, and she seems to be troubled by it.
It's kind of a nice. It's a bit of a fake out because it's like, oh, is she leaving a disaster? Is that what she's doing?
Yeah, exactly.
In a way, she is, I suppose.
Oh, and then it ends with she leaves the room, and I think the camera kind of pulls back and comes into focus with an engagement ring sitting on a table, which is great filmmaking. That's great with the house keys. Yeah.
Dan Trachtenberg did a great job on this.
Yeah, because stuff like that is like, okay, that's all I need to know. She's leaving. She doesn't care where.
Yeah.
Because the life that she thought she would have is not happening.
Yeah.
Really well done. And then her boyfriend, or her I guess now ex-fiance, calls her up, and it's Bradley Cooper's voice.
Yeah, it's Bradley Cooper's voice, but you really can't tell.
No, you would never guess.
Oh, is that Rocket? Oh, Rocket was her boyfriend? Oh, man.
Right, I forgot he's in a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, his voice is a little Rocky. He's a little Raccoon.
Yeah, I want to see that one, but instead of Bradley Cooper, it's Zach Galifianakis on the phone. As Seth or something, and it's like FaceTime.
Because they got to get to their buddy's wedding. So so she's driving away with haste, and she's doing what you shouldn't do. I mean, she is hands free on the phone because he does call her, right? And she is, hands at 10 and 2 on the wheel. But she's a little distracted by her phone because she does get clocked by a truck, and in my theater, I saw this movie at the theater in town where you can buy beer, so I enjoyed a beer with my
nice.
movie. Yeah, it was awesome. It felt so naughty. I was like, ooh.
It is one of those things.
Totally allowed to do this, but ooh. So it's a small movie spot. So it's a small room, and so she gets clocked, and it's the first big like jump of the movie, and then she gets smashed, and it goes Paramount Pictures presents, and I was like thinking that's cool, and one guy,
it's really cool,
and one guy in the theater goes, oh.
I had a very similar reaction to it because there was actually the way that it cuts to the credits of the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure exactly how to describe it. I was kind of like
smash cuts, I suppose.
But it smash cuts, but then they keep like it cuts back, it smash cuts again.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, movie, I like this.
Yeah.
You kind of got me, movie.
Yeah.
I like how that's going.
Away.
Before that, also, there's like this weird tension where she's at a gas station and there's a truck behind her.
Yes.
Which afterwards I read you can hear like John Goodman's breathing there.
which you hear a lot. He's like the new Darth Vader, all the nose breathing he does throughout the movie.
How great is John Goodman in this movie?
He's incredible. He's incredible.
So good in this movie.
He's so good. John Goodman's one of those actors you're like, yeah, John Goodman, he's pretty good. And you forget how good he is until you see him again. He's got me a little worried about his size. He's a big dude. He lost a lot of weight a couple years ago. He's a big dude. He's meant to look very big in this, though. I think they do it on purpose. More on John Goodman later. But yes, John Goodman is incroyable. It's an incroyable performance. He's very good. All the actors, all the three actors in this are they're all very good. But he's really awesome.
Oh yeah, really really good. It's the movie's good. The movie has really, I think, strong pacing as well. Mm-hmm. And you can really see it in that scene where Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in where she's kind of just discovering her surroundings and she's realizing, okay, I have an IV. Okay, this is not a hospital, and I'm chained to the wall.
Her legs hurt. Her knee's in a brace, and her knee is chained to the wall.
And her knee's in a weird old brace.
Yeah, it's not a nice,
not a normal
new one. Yeah, no, this isn't a nice this isn't one of those nice hospital room wake ups. This is one of those I'm in somebody's torture den, kind of areas. Because when you wake up in a torture den, right? You look around, and you're like, oh, I'm in a torture den right now. It's in this, gross kind of brick wall room, and her stuff is over there in a pile. And so right away she's very resourceful. She takes down the IV bag and uses the thing holding it as like a hook to get her stuff. Gets her phone, and of course, no service. Oh, great.
Yeah, of course.
No service, right? Of course, no service on the phone. She's got a good amount of battery, though. She had about 66%. But
not bad.
Yeah, not bad. So she tries to get service on it, and it's revealed she's being held by this dude who gives her some food and doesn't say much. He's just basically eat up. And
so would you say that there's a dude who brings food who's being kind of rude?
He's a rude dude bringing food, and she's not in the mood. And it's a little crude, and I think I might be a little askewed when I'm describing this, but the attitude is certainly that of a running out of words. So
that's fine.
It's basically revealed that he, he's like, she had an accident, and he saved her, and that she should be very happy that he saved her because there's no one gonna come for her. Because there's no one left. There's a lot of very difficult things to describe. Like, I don't want to use this term, but I will. It's like, as an actor, like, how do you do that? Which is like, how do you tell somebody that you saved them and that everyone up on the surface is dead? It's revealed they're in a bunker, 40 feet below the ground, and that everyone is dead and there's an attack. And I'll get to some things that they plant later on. Because they do a lot of great seed planting, I like to call it gun hiding that they reveal later on. He's got her. He's got her pills and he's got her kind of medication to feel better. He's giving her food, and there's another guy there who knocks some stuff over, who John Goodman runs over and yells at him, and it's very scary. So it's like it's one of those things. You're like, oh great, you're in the care of somebody, but you're also in the care of a madman. And this movie's poster is one of the best taglines of all. It's got the best tagline this movie could possibly have, which is something like monsters? Yeah, monsters come in many forms. Which is a pretty genius tagline for a Cloverfield movie.
I like. It reminded me of Zodiac, which is there's more than one way to lose your life to a killer.
Which
is kind of perfect
because they all went insane trying to find him.
Pretty much,
and it turns out it was Ted Cruz.
We have Ted Cruz the whole time. I just saw an image of Ted Cruz as Paul Bearer, and I can't go back.
Oh no!
So put a mustache on his face and an urn in his hand.
Oh no!
It's a beautiful thing. The movie does like an expert job of messing with your head. Because initially you're just like, okay, John Goodman has abducted this girl. I mean, you have a sense because you've probably seen trailers that there's something else going on there.
Yes,
but it seems like John Goodman kind of abducted her. But then he's not very good at suggesting otherwise immediately, because the way he talks is like, I can't let you go.
Yes.
Or things like that.
No one's coming for you.
No one's coming for you. Things go on like that. And you're like, okay, she's been abducted. And then she talks to Emmett, who she kind of grows to trust.
Yeah.
This young guy that John Goodman yelled at. And he's like, oh, no. There was actually like, I saw a big red light. And you're like, wait, what? Like,
he's
there's actually
confirming yes. So there's a lot of like, as an audience, the whole time you're like, he's lying. Nothing happened. He's lying. This is obviously going to be nothing. And so many times it shows you like, no, it is nothing. Oh, just kidding. It totally is a big something.
Yeah.
But the whole time you're led, you as an audience, you could be like, nah, it's nothing. But yeah, Emmett's like, no, I saw it. Big red flash. It wasn't something man-made. It was more like something you read out of the Bible. It was bad. And I knew he had this bunker because I helped him build it. So I came over and it came down. And he broke his arm, not trying to get out. He broke his arm trying to get in. And she's trying to get out so desperately.
That's an amazing detail.
No, I broke my arm trying to. This script is such a good script. He's like, yeah, I broke my arm trying to get in.
So, it's really good.
So it goes in waves. It's not even a bit of Stockholm syndrome, but at some point she does kind of get comfy down there. He's got, it's a bunker, but he's got it decked out. This is the common area. You can watch DVDs. I also have VHS cassette. Just make sure you put it back in the sleeve. And he puzzles.
He's so good. Like John Goodman. Oh, actually, another great reveal with in the movie is
an out of touch weirdo.
Yeah, like he does a really good. Like he's talking about a little bit about what happened. Trying to explain to Michelle, the character, what happened. And one of the things he's like, there's been an attack. Could be the Ruskies. Could be Martians. And you're like, oh no, this guy's really serious about Martians.
And he's like, and whatever the Martians have is going to make what the Ruskies have look like sticks and stones.
Yeah. And so as the movie's going on, you're like, okay, like Emmett saw something, but then there's this thing's happening. And then there's a part where
Martians from. Yeah, where'd he get that?
And then there's a part where that's in the trailer where Elizabeth Winstead, Michelle, hits him with a glass bottle and tries to escape.
Yeah, she manages to grab his keys.
Grabs his keys in a great tense scene.
Oh, and a horrifically tense scene. Yeah,
the movie's really good and tense. And then she runs up the stairs, and there's that little window. And there's a couple times in the movie where you see a little window to the outside world.
Yeah,
and I got so I was just watching the movie like, kind of looking away from the screen because I was like, I feel like something's gonna pop up, and I don't want to.
Dude, yeah, so many times something like messed up is gonna pop up on that thing. It's gonna,
and that pretty much happens once, right?
It happens there, yeah.
It happens there where someone actually pops up.
Yes,
this crazy old woman looks diseased, and as she's saying "let me in," she says something like they barely touched me, which is such a weird thing to say.
So she runs up into like this airlock area. Oh, we didn't even mention. Okay, the reason they're underground is because there is an attack. And,
as you kind of said at the end, anyway.
And Harold, after he does this scary intro, is like, "My name's Harold, by the way." He explains that they have to be underground.
No, it's Howard. It's Howard.
Howard, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
my name's Howard, by the way. They have to be underground for like a year or two because if there's an attack, then there's going to be fallout. There's going to be another attack. But basically, the idea is the air is not breathable up on the surface. So so we don't believe this. At least I didn't. I was like, I don't know. So when she finally gets to that point, when she gets to the door, which if you're watching the trailer, you're like, oh, well, this showed the end of the movie. Well, no, it's like the end of the first act.
Yeah,
ish, or it's the middle second. She runs up. And looks at the thing, and then, there's a woman who's horrifically mangled, who says, they only got me a little bit. So now we all realize, like, no, something did happen. She's underground, and she's like, this woman wants in. He's like, don't open the door, don't let her in. And she doesn't let her in. And the woman gets really angry, and she doesn't pound on the glass with her hands. She starts headbutting it.
Ooh, it's such an uneasy.
Which
it's
is
like
oh, what the? Yeah, it's very uneasy. It's like, no, okay.
it's like it reminds me of I think World War Z, where the zombies start doing that.
Yeah.
And there's something unsettling about a human having so little regard for the thing that makes them think.
For their face, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their brain.
And the fact that they're their face and their brain. It's something great about this. Also, it's this moment where Michelle's character she fights to get free. She's there. She can probably get out, and then she's confronted with the ugliness of it.
Yeah,
and then she makes a choice.
Yeah.
She makes a choice that Howard made,
Yep.
which is I can leave, but no, I'm going to stay because I can't not. So good. And there's we had to kind of get to the end of the podcast here, but then there's the fact that the one problem with the movie, if you can call this a problem, is that it turns out that Howard is both right about there being aliens and also probably a guy who abducts women.
Yes, because
he seems to be both, which the movie sort of it's like in a movie like this where you kind of have to have either or, like, is she abducted or are there aliens? The end result is actually both, which is funny.
Yeah.
So there's this great part. There's a great part with his daughter. I don't remember her name. Is it Morgan or something?
Megan.
This who he very casually at first said, oh yeah, Megan like that, and you're kind of like, what?
Belong to my daughter.
And she's like that. Yeah. And then it turns out he abducted a girl who went missing 2 years earlier. Who they find a picture. How creepy is that picture of John Goodman with that girl who's like not happy to be there?
It's terrifying. They find
it's like it's actually giving me goosebumps right now thinking about it.
Because he shows her a picture. He's like, this is my daughter, and later on she has to go into the air filtration system where she finds another room, and there's another light to the outside world, and she sees blue skies. But she also sees carved backwards into the glass is help, and the LP have blood on it, and she finds an earring with blood on it, and she brings it back, and she shows it to Emmett. She's like, I found this earring that belonged to his daughter. He's like, oh, no, that's not his daughter. Because
she shows the picture, and then it's like, that's not his daughter.
No, that's not his daughter. That's a neighbor of ours. And later, and another picture falls out of the book, and it's him and her, and it's bloody terrifying. So they come up with a plan because she's a fashion designer, so she draws clothes on people in magazines because she's kind of bored. So she's like, I think I can make. Basically, they figure out they can make a gas mask,
right,
or a suit that will protect her from the air outside. She's like, I can make this, but I can only make one because they still want to get out. Then it's revealed. He's like, I want to show you guys something. And he's got a secret hatch, Howard does, with this barrel filled with this acid. And he's like, this is acid. It corrodes, basically it corrodes flesh on contact, any organic material on contact. And then he finds out that they went behind his back and made like this suit. Or they're making something. He has tools. He's like, what were you guys doing with these? And he throws them in the acid. And Emmett's like, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Because earlier, when John Goodman had this, Howard had this outburst at the dinner table toward Michelle, and this is the moment where she takes his keys, but he has an outburst like, "I want you to apologize." She's like, "I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Sorry for insulting you." And he's like, "All right, good. Got to stay hydrated. Forget that down here." It's like super awkward dinner conversation. So Emmett apologizes, and he's like, "All right, I accept your apology." and Howard takes out his gun and shoots him in the face. And he's like, I had to. And they do this great thing where everyone's ears are ringing for a second, and the audio slowly comes back in. He's like, I had to. It's just you and me. I had to. It's the only way. And then he's like, you're going to want to leave because you don't want to see this next part, because obviously he's just going to melt the guy's body. It's so tense, them just standing around this open vat of acid. And
the kind of thing that you look at and you're like, oh, I know what happened to that other girl.
Yeah, and Emmett's like, can you just tell us why we're standing in front of this thing, please? I know, Howard. It's okay. Just tell us why we're standing in front of this thing. So now she goes into her hurry-up offense. She's got to get out of here. So she's got her gas mask suit, and she's still trying to hide it from him. Eventually, he finds out that she has something, and she makes him run for it. And they end up spilling the acid, and John falls in it. His face gets nice and mangled. So he's got kind of a Harvey Dent thing going on as he chases her through the vents. And it's the great vent chase thing where she's getting through the vents, and his knife stabs up through the vent. Like those are great moments. And he becomes like truly, truly monstrous in this moment.
Oh, yeah. So
she gets to the vents, and earlier he gave her the idea to use again, another gun that they hide, use this, I don't know if it's liquid nitrogen or something, but this ice spray.
It's like an air, it's like the I think it's just like air compressor spray, but it's like compressed air you would use you could often use it in computers to make sure there's no dust and things.
So he
gave her perfectly
the idea.
Done.
He's like, when I was in the Navy, because he was in the Navy, I use this to sometimes we'd lock the guy in the bathroom and it'd take him an hour or two to get out. So she finds the lock on this other door that goes to the outside, and she uses the air compressor spray to eventually get it open. It doesn't open at first, which is very tense. So she gets out. She gets out into the world, and the one F-bomb in the movie is just so perfectly done. And then she gets on top of her truck, or his truck, and she looks and sees a ship, like not a helicopter, a ship.
Yeah.
And she reacts like the audience would, where she goes like, "Oh, come on!" So she tries to get away, and the rest.
It's that moment when you realize that both, like, it's the both and that there are aliens, and he was abducting her.
Yes, exactly. And then the rest of the movie is like the last 10 minutes or so is like an alien queens kind of sequence where she's running away from these weird worm-like creatures, which Emmett mentions earlier. He's like, "Oh, did you hear his theory on Martian space worms?" Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Which is like true.
Earlier he mentions Martians, and they mentioned space worms because that's totally believable that this crazy guy would just believe. You know, he's this crazy country guy who probably believes there's aliens in the world. You know, it's like, hey, they abducted my neighbor, Teddy, or something like that.
Yeah.
So turns out they're real. So she's somewhat escaping from him. It's a cool alien design too, because it's something I've not seen, which is just like alien slug with a weird mouth-like thing. She is in the truck. She's getting taken away. The truck's getting taken away into this mothership with this mouth underneath. And earlier in the movie, she's got a bottle of scotch that she takes and ends up using that to throw a Molotov inside and blowing up the alien. I don't know, it's not the mothership by any means, but it's like an alien ship. She manages to blow it up. She gets out. She avoids this alien spray by wearing her gas mask deal. And those effects are all really cool. And then she drives away, knocks over the mailbox. Turns out they're at 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yep.
And she hears in the AM band, she's like, all the survivors have gone to Houston. If you have any medical or combat training, and earlier she stitched up Howard because she bashed him with the bottle. Any medical or combat training? Well, she just fought off this dude, and she blew up a spaceship. So she's like, come to Houston, come to Houston. She comes to a literal crossroads where she can either keep on going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or take a left and go to Houston. And it's like, come on, Michelle, you're bad now. You're bad. You're bad. And she goes to Houston. You're like, all right, going out to fight some aliens.
It's a really cool end to that movie. Like, yes. It's really interesting. And like, I think some people online were like, I didn't need the alien.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. But I always like that. I always like the huevos on filmmakers to be like, yeah, and then we throw aliens at the end. Because that's such a, like, it's almost a gag where you're like, oh yeah, then there was aliens. I mean, a lot of people didn't like it in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I can understand that. But I was like, yeah, Do it, man. Just
Yeah.
throw some aliens in there at the end, and people be
Go
like,
for
what the
it.
hell? Yeah, go for it. And I was very happy. Like, again, the filmmakers did a wonderful, wonderful job on this. And yeah, it could have. I was so afraid it was just going to be like she got out and it was fine. Like she gets out of the bunker, she sees birds and she can breathe the air.
Yeah.
And I was like a little fearful that it was just going to be like, and then everything was fine. But no, they didn't cop out like that.
No,
they gave
not at
us
all.
like an actual like, because it's a Cloverfield movie. Again, that's why it's like a dim eye sequel to Cloverfield. It's it's supernatural stuff happens, and that's why a lot of people describe this as like kind of genre bending, and it is in a way. It's like a thriller that turns into a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was awesome. I was very glad I saw it. If you heard this podcast review of it, then you missed it. Like, I hate to tell you, but it was one of those movies that the great joy of it is watching it for the first time.
Yeah, I remember just leaving the movie and being like, oh, that one felt like it was for me.
Yeah. It said at the end, special thanks to Matt Vaughn for coming to see this movie.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
but actually
which is nice.
They meant that Matt Vaughn had directed
X-Men First Class.
Kingsman and X-Men. Yeah, they meant that one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Well, I mean, well, that was that was the review. That's the podcast too.
That's the podcast. Yeah,
that's the podcast. Best of luck to Alex, who
right.
is trying to get out of that cellar. He's in his own cellar.
He's in his own cellar. His arm's broken. We're all trying to leave the cellars of life,
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, another thing too. Sorry, it's just like they have
Sure.
the conversation about their regrets. Him and her. She's like, yeah, I saw this guy abusing this girl, and it didn't do anything. And she does it. Ah, heck. One of the great film heroines of the last little while, I think, is Michelle, whatever her last name was. She was great. Yes, that's the podcast. Thanks everybody for listening. I appreciate it. I have my arms held wide open. You can't see it, but Matt can. I'm on Twitter at William C. Vaughn. Matt's on Twitter at
MP Vaughn.
And Alex is on Twitter at Evaunics, EVAUGHNANICS, element of P and a QRS and a TUV. Next week, I'll be discussing Batman v Superman.
Yes.
Probably with spoilers. We can discuss it.
Probably we'll do that.
Not sure we'll gush as much as we gushed about this.
Although, if you remember how we talked about Man of Steel, and after we saw Captain America Winter Soldier, you can probably imagine the tone we had.
You can imagine
which was,
the tone.
We weren't angry, we were just disappointed.
Which is, if your folks ever say that to you, they're not angry, they're just disappointed. It's way worse.
You're in big trouble.
You're in big trouble.
All right. We'll see you next week, guys. Don't go out the door.
Don't go out the door. It's not safe out there. All right. Peace.
Bye.